In this video, I'll show you how to make this beautiful Crocus card, including the background, from start to finish in 15 minutes. Yes, 15 minutes. Okay, let's get making this card. So this is a card in about 20 minutes. It's a quick one. So I've got my glass mat here and I've got 3 pots of Brushos that I've watered down. Check out my technique video channel because it shows you how to do this. So I'm going to be using rose red, burnt sienna and yellow ochre. First of all, take the rose red. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a spray. And what I want red mostly at the bottom. And then I want yellow mostly at the top. So I'm literally just giving those a quick spray, and of course they'll melt in the middle. So using my heat tool, just going to blast that. Do it from a little bit away, otherwise you risk stuff running. So apologies if that's not in focus. But you need to dry it, because if you add the burnt sienna on top, it's going to then kind of meld in, and you want it as individual blobs. There we go, it's kind of drying. This is watercolour paper. You do need some quite decent paper to do this. So obviously it's going to take quite a lot of liquid. Normal paper would just buckle or ripple. So just work your way around what you've sprayed, and you can see you get some really nice effects. Once that layer's dry, you can then add another layer. I'm going to add a bit more red because that's a bit thin at the bottom. There we go, a bit more colour. And then just dry that again quickly. We've got quite a nice fade there, which goes nicely with the Crocus stamp that we're using. Okay, that's dry enough, and then I'm just going to take the burnt sienna. We don't want a lot of this, so I'm just going to do it, and I'm half pressing the bottle down so that I get a little bit of coverage, but I also get some blobs, because we want blobs. There we go. And now I'll give that a final dry. This is a very quick way of making an interesting background. Brushos are powders, but you water them down in a little spray bottle that you can buy, and gives you a really easy way of making a card background in about a minute. I'm going to be working with much the same colours. Once we actually start colouring, I'm just going to wipe that down because I don't really want to get a load of that on the front. Just going to dry the back. That will also help the card not bend so much. There we go, there's our background. So you can see quite a nice fade from red through to sort of yellowy orange with some interesting blobs on top. Okay, I'm just going to go over that with my anti-static mat, because the next thing we're going to do is stamp. So I'm getting my stamping platform out. Pop that in. This is the stamp set, which is a beautiful one from All and Create, and the stamp that we're using is this Crocus stamp and just the word Crocus. So I'm just going to take those 2 off there, and I'm simply going to pop the word Crocus down the bottom, and then the actual Crocus itself just next to it. And we're going to paint it with some watercolour paints in much the same colour as we've used for the background. So just press that down lightly, and then give it a good press on this side, just making sure that is completely flat. Also flip it out, just make sure your text is lined up. I can see straight away that that isn't, so I'm just going to realign that. There we go, but that's what the grid lines are for, and they're handy. Let's just check the position of that again. Yeah, that looks fine. So, excuse me. Right, I'm just going straight in with my VersaFine Onyx Black. I'm just going to stamp that down straight away. Give it a minute just for the ink to set in, because obviously that paper's had a lot of water on it. While that's doing that, I'm going to grab my emboss powder, because we're going to clear emboss this. There we go. Tap off the back. And then again, we're going to go in with the heat gun and just set that emboss powder. This is where the magic happens. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to colour it. By doing that, that gives me some raised edges to work up to. It also makes the black glossy, and it kind of improves the lines. Just means that it will end up being a clearer, sharper image. But also when you're colouring, it does give you something to colour up to, which is quite good. Okay, that's done. Just move this out of the way. And now let's get down to it. So I'm going to zoom in a bit. And we're just going to colour. I'm using my Arteza pens. I'm picking a couple of colours that are similar, a pink and an orange. And I'm going to be using my water brush as well. So first thing I'm going to do is just go in the bottom here. Really not taking much care at all. So I'm blobbing some of this pink colour down, just on different pieces. And then I'm going to use the water brush to just pull that out and pull that up. And there we go. And you can see the effect that we pull up. So just go over those bits that you just laid down. Then I'm going to add some of the orange. Again, not paying much care or attention really. Literally just dumping the colour down. And then straight in with the same brush. You don't even need to clean it off because similar colour palette. Just pulling those colours down. There we go. Because they're in the same colour palette as our project, nice and easy. Now, what I'm going to do as well, I'm just going to use some green, straight out of the brush on these leaves and on the stem and on this gnarly bit at the bottom. Taking a little bit more care now. Right, we don't need to colour the whole thing because again, we're going to pull that colour across. Just by taking a little bit of the green, kind of drag that across, and then we end up with a two-tone effect because one side is dark and solid, the other side is just a bit lighter. Obviously, if you wanted it darker and you wanted to spend more time with shading, etc., you can do that. But I'm just doing it kind of lightly. There we are, that's enough. Clear my water brush off there, just on a piece of cloth. There's our main card done. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to take some red and I'm going to just ink around the edges. Again, working in the same tone, working in the same colour palette, it will all tone in. If you keep within one colour palette, that kind of helps the project feel all part of one. Covering up any kind of white areas really. As little or as much as you want. I just want to give it a little bit of a feature edge. when inking, always start off the page, work your way onto the page. Usually do a little bit more in the corners just to give it kind of 3D effect. And then finishing touch, just go around the edges of the card, get rid of any white. Okay, that's done. Again, I'm going to clean off my work surface, and then I should take a piece of black. Stick some tape onto the back of that. I'm just going to mount it on black, and then we'll mount it onto a white card blank. You see, this is really a very quick card to make. I'm using double-sided tape. You could use glue if you wanted. This card is thick enough that it would take it, but I'm just using double-sided. Taking those tapes off. Oh dear, what am I doing here? Okay, I've now made a mess there, but I can pull that up, that'll be fine. Okay, so find a decent corner and then just stick that down. Just doing it by eye really, just to get it even. There we go. Just press that down, turn it over, give it a press on the other side, and then we're just going to use our ruler and our scalpel to just even that up. That did not work well. This is what you get for doing it in a hurry. So I'm now going to actually have to cut that along the project edge. Look, I've made a mess of that. So I'm going to have to trim that and do it again. Unfortunately, this is what happens, but nobody will know. So I'm just going to go along the edge of the project and trim this black off, and then just put another layer down. Just means it will sit slightly higher because it's got 2 layers underneath it, but nobody will ever know. There we go, that's fine. This is how to rescue a card and make a card at the same time. So let's try that again, shall we? Because I'm hurrying. Right, let's try that again. Okay, let's try that again. So pick a different corner, center it. And then obviously this time just take a little bit more care. I can slightly see that there, which is going to annoy me. But I don't know that anybody else would notice that really. Okay. blank, which I have here. Just fold that and score it. There we go, and peel these tapes off. Stick that down, so just check where you're going to stick it. Just doing that by eye. Okay, I think that's good. Peel those tapes off. Press those edges down. With your bone folder. There we go, done. So that is a card from start to finish in 16 minutes. That is really not bad. So sprayed the base, stamped the image, coloured the image. You could always add gems or Nouveau drops if you wanted. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed that. If you want to see other techniques videos, look on my techniques channel on my YouTube. And thanks for watching. If you like it, please click subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you next time.